There is a very strange psychic phenomenon which, for the purposes of this video, I'm going to call girl world, okay, or getting lost in girl world. And what I mean by that is that you can really get enmeshed in somebody else's personality, in somebody else's psyche, when you spend time with them on an intimate level, all right? And this, of course, what I'm talking about here is romantic situations, guys and girls, okay? You know, you get together, maybe you guys go out for the night, you make some sweet love and all of that good stuff, and you fall asleep together, and then you wake up the next day, and then you hang out, you know, like the next day, or you hang out for the weekend or whatever. It's incredible how you just get sucked into this like really different energy, you know, the other person's energy, so powerful. And this could be, I suppose, good or bad, but the way I'm describing it here is in a more negative sense, but it's something just to be aware of, because it's so easy. Maybe only for certain people, right? If you're somewhat porous emotionally, it affects you more than it affects other people. But for me, it's just like, man, you could just get sort of sucked into someone's psyche, okay, in a way that is quite emotionally draining, okay. And I think it also depends on the nature of the person as well, on the nature of the woman that you're with. I suppose ultimately you want to get together with women where it's very light, you know, the energy is very light, and you can just enjoy her company, and it's sort of chilled, it's sort of relaxed, and yeah, you're hanging out together, but it's cool. You don't feel any kind of a weight on you. You don't feel any kind of a sort of being sucked into somebody else's psychodrama. But if you get together with the wrong person, or not necessarily the wrong person, but if you get together with somebody where their energy is very heavy, all right, if their energy is very pronounced, then that really rubs off on you. I appreciate that this video is somewhat esoteric, and maybe some people don't quite get what I'm saying, but I'm trying to articulate it in the best way that I can. I suppose what I'm really trying to say here is that when you spend time with somebody, and here's the thing, right? You get a lot of guys who watch the channel, and they put comments below, and they say things like, oh, you know, I just want to find a girlfriend, blah, blah, blah. Or I just want to find a wife or something, as if that in itself is, you know, the golden ticket, and once you've done that, everything's good, and, you know, you're sorted for life. Actually, of course, it's been well documented, the issues with, say, marriage, for example, you know, the legal issues with marriage and all the rest of it. But the psychological effects of hanging out with somebody on an intimate basis over hours, days, weeks, months, and years is not to be underestimated, because what happens is that your personality becomes merged or enmeshed with theirs, all right? And this is actually, in a way, one of the great things about falling in love. When you think about somebody that you've been with, it's almost like there was you, there was her, and then there was this third entity as well, which was whatever you and her together was. And when I think about exes of mine, I think about that third entity, the thing that was created by the merging of us together. And sometimes that could be brilliant, but other times, if the person is energetically a drain, that can be very exhausting and very tiring. And I mean, again, you know, we've talked before in these videos about being avoidant. We've talked about the need for space in relationships and so on. And that's certainly something that's very pronounced in me. So maybe what I'm describing here affects me more than it does other people. Maybe there are guys who are watching this and they're just like, yeah, man, it's fine. I can just chill over a weekend with a woman, and it's, you know, water off a duck's back, no problem. For me, I find it often quite draining. I find it quite difficult. And as much as, however much I like the woman in question, however much I get on with her and find her attractive, or find her funny, or find her, you know, cool or interesting or whatever, there's always that feeling, you know, at the end of the time that we spend together, that feeling of relief, that feeling almost of coming to the surface again from having dived deep into the pool. You're like, finally you can breathe again, if that makes sense. And, you know, you spend time with somebody who and this is one of the dangers with relationships, because you spend time with somebody who maybe has their own issues to deal with, okay, maybe has their own psychic entanglements and inner turmoils to figure out. And I mean, God knows I've got enough of mine already. So then you've got the two of you together, and it just exacerbates whatever you're dealing with, right? Or at least what you're dealing with can get pushed to one side, and they can suck all of the oxygen out of the situation. So you've just got to be careful. Again, I suppose this comes down to something that I said in a video some months ago, back last year, which is that you've got to be careful who you let into your inner sanctum, if you like. You've got to be careful about who you allow in your intimate psychological space, because if you don't, then you're in danger of compromising yourself, and you're in danger of getting yourself into a bad headspace that's not going to be productive for you. And as I did say in that previous video, in the past, I would just pretty much let anybody through the door, you know? It was a revolving door, really, into my boudoir and into my life in terms of women that I was intimate with, because all I was driven by was the desire to, you know, to have sex, to date, to get into relationships, to you know, whatever. That's all I was driven by. And the consideration of, okay, but who actually are these people? You know, who are these women really that I'm spending this time with, that I'm sharing this psychological space with? Are they the right sort of people to bring into my life? And in many cases, the answer to that question was probably no, to be quite frank. But I didn't care, because, as I say, the only objective that I had was romantic or was sexual. I think I'm a lot more guarded now, perhaps, than I was in the past, and I'm certainly a lot more aware of this stuff. Not least because, obviously, making videos like this, you know, I'm talking about it. It's part of my job to think about things like this. But I suspect that it's not something that a lot of guys think about, particularly if they're coming to this content because they've had an issue with dating. You know, they've had an issue with finding people, you know, to date, or finding women who they want to date. It's naturally then, you're not just going to be thinking, oh, and also as well, I want to make sure she's psychologically the right person for me. There is a tendency when there's a lack of abundance in your life to almost, like I did, let anybody through the door. Like, okay, oh, she'll do, she's pretty, she's cool, whatever. And you know, you let her in. But there is this layer of consideration, which is, okay, she might be attractive, she might be sexy, she might be this, she might be that, but what kind of energy is she bringing, you know? Is it really healthy for you to be not just spending time with her? It's not like with a mate or a friend when you hang out and you maybe have a drink or you have a bite to eat and you chat. When you hang out with a woman, it's really intimate, you know? Just physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, it's really, really intimate. And if you just let anybody into that sphere of your life, then there's a danger, as I say, that you are compromising yourself. And I personally just find it very tiring. I find it quite draining. I find I need to almost rehabilitate myself sometimes afterwards, you know, without being melodramatic. But I need to take a breather and almost go, oh, gee, God, you know. I'd like almost do some meditation or some spiritual practices afterwards in order to get to sort of, you know, sort myself out again. So, as I say, I hope this makes sense. I hope you've got something from this. I don't think this is something that gets talked about very much. It's not something I've seen actually anybody in the space that I am nominally connected with discuss on video ever. And perhaps that's because it's a somewhat higher level topic of discussion, or perhaps maybe it just doesn't affect other guys like it affects me. I don't know. I mean, I think I'm quite sensitive to other people's energy. I think I'm quite sensitive to the weight of other people's psyche and what that brings to me and how that interacts with my own psyche. So perhaps this is just something I'm more aware of than other guys. But I'd be interested to know what you think. So put your comments below and let me know if this is making sense, if I'm connecting with this, or if you just think, what the hell is he ranting on about? Yeah, so let me know what you think in the comments below. If you would like to discuss your dating life, your dating issues with me, then you can do that. Drop me an email, troy@realtroyfrancis.com, and we can get on a free call. I also have a Calendly link, which is down below in the description. So click on that, and we can you can book a slot with me. We can have a chat, see if there's a way that we can work together to work through some of the issues that you are dealing with in your dating or relationship life. What else? I got a bunch of books called Renegade Dating Blueprint. You can buy that. There's a link below. And also you can support the channel on Patreon as well for a measly $5 per month. $5 a month. What can you buy with that? Like a coffee, less than a coffee, and you can support this wonderful channel. So, hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think, and I will see you guys again very soon. Bye-bye.
Ça, c'est vissé ou pas?